Good morning. Okay. So I definitely am going to touch on a couple different topics this morning. Um, so to make a long story short, I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys first what I'm going to talk about. That way, as I talk about them, you will know what's going on because my ADD, I feel like it's kicking in bad today. So the first thing we're going to talk about is not how to not overwhelm yourself, like when you're getting back into your business and when you're trying to do life and all those kinds of things, plus do Scentsy in the meantime. Number 2 is going to be sweetness. Number 3 is going to be being authentic, which is going to go and tie into social media tips. And then the fourth thing is how to deal with people when they talk about Scentsy being too expensive, like the products and the business and all that kind of stuff. So number 1, how to not overwhelm yourself. So most of you guys know, if you don't, I am a nurse full-time. I still work at the hospital. I have a group of roughly 1,600 people that I'm not going to say deal with, that I manage for the most part. And I have 2 boys, and they are, I don't want to say that they're busy. However, I also am one of those moms that I'm very in tune with my kids, and I want to make sure that they always know that I'm present and that they always know that I'm on their side. And it's also so important as a mom, and I mean, even as a wife or as a girlfriend or in a relationship, that people don't view your business, that your people don't view your business as something that takes you away from them. Because at the end of the day, Scentsy is not, that's not how this business is supposed to be ran. And you never want someone in your circle and in your life to be angry with the business or to resent you for doing Scentsy. They need to see that Scentsy is a blessing, right? You want them to see that Scentsy is a blessing. And it's very easy to get overwhelmed in this business, to get overwhelmed in life, and to really work hard, but to kind of lose everything around you while you're working because you're so in that mindset. So a couple things that I do that really help me. I make lists. The older I get, the worse my ADD is. The more I forget. The older I get, the more that I forget. So what I do on a daily basis is I make a list. I make a list either in the notes section of my phone or in some sort of notebook or something about what I have to do that day. And I'm a firm believer that everything happens the way that it's supposed to happen. So if for some reason I list and I only get half of that list done, I know in my heart that I did what I was supposed to do that day. And whatever I don't get done goes on the list for the next day. It's very easy to overwhelm yourself, not just in life, but in this business. And the second we get overwhelmed, instead of working really hard, a lot of us just shut down and do nothing. But if you shut down and do nothing, you get nothing accomplished. So you need to make sure, number 1, that in this business, that you're doing things that make you money and that bring you joy. There's a lot of things that people do in this business that don't matter, that don't make them money, that don't bring them joy. And when you're doing things like that, it doesn't make any sense, right? So a couple things that you can do in your business to make you money, income producing activities, that's it. You don't need to be doing X, Y, and Z that Susie down the street is doing. You know why? Because she's not you and you're not her. Every single person runs their business differently because you have a different life than she does. And whatever I do, you don't have to do because my life is not your life and we're not the same. So you've got to do what works for you. For me, before work, I work at the hospital. I get up at 3:45 in the morning. And I do that because I know that I work better in the morning. I work better right when I wake up. I work better in the morning than I do at night because at night I'm really tired. I don't do well at night. So I make sure that I get up a little bit earlier. That way I can do stuff for my business in the morning. And sometimes it's not even for my business. Sometimes it's, doing the dishes, cleaning up, doing stuff like that. That way, when I do get to work my business, I don't have all this stuff hanging over my head. Sometimes in your business, you're going to have to give up some other stuff. I mean, you might be one of those people who binges Netflix. If you want to do business, you're going to have to give up a couple things. You're going to have to give up maybe watching Netflix for a little bit, or I don't know, going out with your friends or doing things like that. You've got to find ways to work your business into your lifestyle. Also, you got to find what makes you happy, because when you're working really hard, it's easy to get overwhelmed very quickly. And you've got to find a way to reset yourself. This past weekend, I worked really hard to reset. I cleaned my house. I put away my Christmas stuff. I didn't focus a lot on Scentsy. I didn't focus a lot on my business. I focused a lot on what was good for my soul. And that was cleaning out my house, putting away my Christmas stuff, making sure that my house felt like a home again and not a cluttered disaster. Because when I have a cluttered disaster, I don't work well. I don't work well in a chaotic environment. When I'm in a chaotic environment, I go like this. I spin. I don't do well. If your office is a mess, clean your office. You can't work well in a place that has chaos. So get it under control first, and then sorry, my dog is out of her mind and she likes to bark sometimes. Stella May, stop it. Anywho, so don't overwhelm yourself. Make a list of what you really, really, really have to do. And then whatever you don't get done, push it to the next day. But make sure that when you're working, that you're super diligent and that you're super focused, that you're not doing one thing and then bouncing to another thing and bouncing to another thing, but that you're looking at this. What I do also is I'll go, Stella May, hush your mouth. This is real life over here. My dog is crazy. One thing that's really helped me as I've gotten older, I do a planning time. I will go in my kitchen and put my oven timer on like 10 minutes, and I'll put on thinking music, and I'll sit there and I'll make a list of what I really need to do. Because when you don't make a list of what you really need to do, how do you know where to start? You don't know where to start. You've got to know what you've got to do first in order to get stuff done. And this all comes back to, what do you want out of life? And I know I pretty much say that in every training I do, but it's literally, I was reading my devotional this morning and it talked a lot about passion. And when you aren't passionate about something, when you don't really want something in the end, you're not going to work hard. And what it talked a lot about is that when you have passion for what you're doing in your life, on the hard days, on the days that things don't make sense, on the days that you don't want to get out of bed, that passion drives you. That passion will get you up. That passion will move you. And right now, y'all, the hospital, it's rough. It's not good. It's not good at all. I had somebody die on me 2 days ago, and it was not good. But what I have learned to do is go to work, and if it takes me 3 minutes out of my time at the hospital because I have nothing else going on for that second, to text some customers or to do a post on Instagram or something like that, because that brings me joy and that's an outlet from my job right now, then that's what I'm going to do. You've got to figure out what brings you joy. When life is chaotic, when things are crazy, when all you want to do is sit down and do nothing, you've got to figure out what your passion is. What do you want out of 2021? And when your passion is strong enough, when your dream is strong enough, it will push you on the days that you don't think that you can move. Because those days will come, and those moments will come, and life will happen, and things will come about. But if you have something that drives you, you're not going to give up. You're not. You know why? Because your passion is greater. What you want is greater than whatever that circumstance is. Social media. This is what I'm going to say about social media, okay? Every single one of you has a story. You all have a story to share. I'm not the only one with a story. I have a big story, but you have a big story too. You do. But you've got to uncover that story. And when you are authentic on social media, when you share what you can be vulnerable about, maybe it's not good. Maybe you went through some really, really bad stuff. Maybe there's things that you don't like to talk about, but maybe you need to. When you authentically share over social media about what Sensi has done for you in your business, in your life, in your mindset, how it's blessed you, that's when your business changes, because you change the people. You can change the people through your journey. And when you authentically share on social media, everything changes. And maybe it's something that you have to come to a place where you're okay sharing. For me, when I share parts of my journey, and there's something that I want to do in the next 2 years that's going to be really big for me with sharing. When I share the things that have happened to me, it's almost like I can breathe and I let them go. Because when you hold on to stuff and you don't let it go, it paralyzes you and you get stuck. And nobody in this world wants to be stuck. We want to be free. We want to be free from our past. We want to be free from everything that weighs us down. But in order to be free, you have to be authentic. And that doesn't just go back to sharing on social media. Maybe you're a director. Maybe you're a high level in this company. But listen, you've got to be authentic. Number one, with yourself. Number two, with your teams and with the world. Be authentic. Don't try to be somebody else. You're not them and they're not you. Every single one of you has a story. Every single one of you has something to bring to the table. The second you forget that you have something to bring to the table, the second you forget who you are, that's when everything changes. You've got to be authentic, not just through social media, but in life in general. Be authentic at your job. Be authentic at your home. Be authentic with your friends, in your circle. If you can't be authentic in those places, then you've got to figure out what's weighing you down, what's keeping you from being authentic. You've got to. Who are you? There's so many people that go through life and they don't know who they are. I didn't know who I was for a really long time. I was afraid to be who I was. I was embarrassed to be who I was. I didn't want people to see me. I wore black every single day. And it wasn't just because I liked the color black. It's because I didn't want people to see me. I didn't want to be noticed. And it was because I was so hurt. Because I knew how broken I was. And I didn't want people to see how broken I was. But being broken and being authentic and being vulnerable is what blesses other people. And when you can bring that to other people, that's beautiful. Be authentic in every way, shape, and form. And that truly goes back to figuring out who you are as a person. Who you are. What is good about you? Where do you struggle? What are you holding back? What do you need to talk about? Who do you need to forgive? And also maybe who you need to ask forgiveness from. Okay, also, people sometimes do say Sensi's expensive. But shoot, we've got wax for $6 and we've got counter clean for hardly next to nothing. And we've got all these things. So when someone is telling you that products are expensive, if you think that they're expensive, that's going to come off with the way that you're talking to them. So if somebody talks to me and they're like, man, that warmer is super expensive. You know what I say? I'll say, I get it. And I hear what you're saying. I know that you think it's expensive. However, if you purchase this warmer, I mean, you've already got the warmer. All you got to do is buy wax, and wax is not expensive. Also, hey, you know what? You may think it's expensive, but if you get a couple people to order from your link, you can get that warmer for free. So why don't we try that route? There's so many ways that you can talk to people and talk around what they're thinking. You can change people's mindset in an instant. But if you feel some kind of way, that's going to bleed off in your conversation. If you think that Scentsi's expensive, that's fine. But don't talk about it being expensive to people. It brings me back to as a nurse. And it could be the first time I go into a room to do something ever. I've never done this thing before. However, if I walk in there and act like I've never done that before, that person's going to be nervous. So instead of that, I walk into that room like I'm a damn boss. Like I have done this procedure 6,000 times. Like I know exactly what I'm doing. And the second that you come in there with confidence and with the right mindset, everything changes. Their attitude changes. Your attitude changes. Everybody in the room's attitude changes. You've got to come into it that way. Same thing with Scentsy. Come into a conversation about Scentsy with that mindset. Scentsy's not expensive. Dude, this is like the best product out there. You may think the warmer for $30 is expensive, but you can go to Walmart and buy one for 25 bucks. And guess what? The wax smells like freaking crayons. And it doesn't burn right. And it could burn your kids. So you may think it's expensive, but you're getting what you paid for. You've got to come into everything with the right mindset. Okay. I think that's about it. But I just want y'all to know, number one, life is overwhelming. Life can be overwhelming. And you've got to find a way to center yourself and to reset yourself. And when we as humans don't reset ourselves, we don't even know what we're doing. We don't even stay on the right track. Because when you don't stop, think about like something spinning out of control, or even like a hamster wheel. Hamster wheel is just spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning, and then it stops. To me, and this might be the hippie in me, but to me, when you reset and refocus and sit there and take a second and breathe, that is the most peaceful moment that you can have. Because I know how it is up here. It's chaotic, isn't it? I have one of the most chaotic brains, minds, everything out of anybody in the world that I know. My mind goes a mile a minute all the time. It never stops moving. It's crazy. However, I know for me that I have to reset, but you've got to find a way to reset. For me, resetting is taking a super hot shower and just standing there for a second, or cleaning my office and getting the feng shui the way that I want it, or being around my kids and watching a show on Netflix with Beckett. You've got to find a way to reset. You've got to find a way to reset your purpose, what you want. I did a training, it's actually on here, about like the 5 top tips of success. And the last tip is, what do you want now? Because we go through life and we figure out what we want. We work super, super, super hard and super diligent to get what we want. And then you know what happens? We don't figure out what we want next. And when you don't know what you want and you don't figure out what you want next, you don't do anything. You're just like this. You've got to reset and figure out what you want. Figure out what your purpose is. Because like I said, when you have a purpose, when you know what you want out of this business and out of this life, you will work your arse off. You will work so hard. You will not stop. You will keep moving. But you've got to reset and refocus and figure out what you want. And also give yourself some grace. Not everything is going to be perfect. You are not going to be perfect. You're human. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to be a slack ass sometimes. Sometimes I'm a slack ass. We're all slack asses sometimes. Okay? And that's okay. Give yourself some grace. However, don't take too long. When you take too long to reset and refocus, you know what happens? Everything gets out of control. And then 6 months go by and you haven't been working your business and your bills are behind and everything's crazy. And you're like, shit, why didn't I do this 6 months ago? You've got to reset quickly. You can't let it take too long. Because when you do, life gets out of control. Reset quickly and find what helps you reset. Find out what helps you to get back to that place that you need to be in that right mindset. Okay, I got things to do. Have a great day, y'all. Talk to you later.